Okay, so hi guys. Thank you for joining. I'm Erin, and you are here to learn all about how to raise money using Kickstarter. So excited to be giving away this information. Feel free to ask questions in the chat if you have questions along the way. And feel free to stop me at any point. This is super casual, so I want you to feel like I am your friend and you can say, I don't understand, or can you please elaborate? Because I tend to talk pretty quickly. And this information isn't new to me, but it might be really new to you. So always feel free to stop me and ask questions and use the chat. So you might be coming to this webinar because you're interested in launching a product-based business. You might have seen me indie publish 2 books with a publisher here in Chicago and wonder, how the hell did you do that? How do you afford making your own book, making your own wallpaper company, et cetera, et cetera. Or you might have some other creative pursuit or idea that you don't currently have the money for. And that you want to fund. My phone is ringing in the back room. Okay, maybe it stopped ringing. So we're going to jump into how to raise money using Kickstarter. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my own personal experience using Kickstarter. Okay, so here's some interesting statistics about Kickstarter campaigns. Of all the Kickstarter campaigns that have ever been launched, only 38% of Kickstarters have been fully funded. So what I mean by that is if someone says, I need $5,000 and they're trying to raise money, that they actually reach their goal on Kickstarter is less than half of people that do a Kickstarter, which is a little bit staggering since I consider myself not such a small demographic of ambitious creative people. But yeah, I guess I'm less than half of people that try to raise money. Additionally, most funded campaigns are less than $10,000. So people generally it's easier to raise $10,000 than it is to raise $20,000. And there are 15 project categories on Kickstarter. So it doesn't have to just be for a product-based business. It could be technology or gaming or any type of design. And there's 12 other categories, but those are the top 3. And so within design, I was in the design category. That's pretty cool that it's the top 3 things that are most funded on Kickstarter on this platform. It's meant for that. It's meant for technology, games, and design. People have success in those categories. Interestingly enough, 168 lucky people in the design category were able to reach over $1 million or $1 million crowdfunding, which is pretty incredible because if you consider alternative routes of raising funds, you either have to pitch your idea to investors or be a part of an incubator program or go to a bank and try and find a business loan or apply to the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and ask the government to fund you. All of these are ways to raise money, but it's very rare that you can raise $1 million for your project. In one of those ways, unless you've been in business for a really long time and have a track record of being able to have revenue of $500,000. But when we're first starting out, we don't have any proof that proof of concept that we are able to make money doing the thing that we want to do. So Kickstarter is really perfect for startups, but you can see that lots of people raise a whole bunch of money on there. So I was able to raise a little over $20,000 on Kickstarter, which means that I'm in the 7th percentile, which is just a staggering number for me because I kind of just thought it was easy and it happened effortlessly and it went off without a hitch. So for me to know that like 93% of other people were not able to do what I did, is surprising to me, because for me, I'm going to show you guys my Kickstarter video in just a second. I was able to, in 60 days, with the help of only 226 friends, back in 2016, I was able to raise $20,649 on Kickstarter. And what I was able to pay for with that money was launching my business. So I bought a bunch of paper, I had a bunch of screens made at a local screen printing shop, and they printed my initial rolls of wallpaper that I cut up and made into samples. I used the wallpaper for a photo shoot. I paid the photographer to take pictures, and then those went onto a website. I paid a web designer to design the website. I paid a graphic designer to create a logo for me, and I hired a local company to letterpress custom packaging for me, as well as paying a legal entity to set up my LLC and register me, my articles of incorporation. So I came up with this number based on calling a bunch of people and saying, how much would it cost to X, Y, and Z? And then adding all those numbers together. And truth be told, I should have raised about $30,000, because within 48 hours, you guys might think this is insanity, within 48 hours, the $20,649 was completely spent. So once I did receive that money, it was already allocated to all of these different things. And I didn't budget for any extra money on top of that to do anything else to run the business. I was just at square one once I was done with this Kickstarter campaign. So looking back, I probably should have raised a little bit more money. All right, so the next thing I'm going to share with you guys is my video itself. We are going to just watch my video so that you guys can see what the video looked like. And here it is.
Hi, I'm Erin Minckley, founder of Relativity Textiles. Most of you know me as an artist, a teacher, an entrepreneur, or a mom. But today, I want to tell you a little bit about my Kickstarter campaign and how your support of a really important project could mean the world to me. I've spent the last year putting together a collection of wallpaper patterns that come from my own artwork, my own drawings, and are manufactured right here in Chicago, Illinois. I'm asking for your support in this project so that it will succeed in becoming a well-known brand for luxury handmade objects inspired by the world. I studied at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, where I found my calling. I learned how to make fabric by screen printing and dyeing cloth. It is through sharing a love of textile history that I conceived of the brand Relativity. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity states that two people looking at the same object can see differently depending on their vantage point and momentum. What a beautiful way of understanding design and the spectrum of aesthetic choices we make when decorating our homes. Working for the past 2 years at Artisan Handprints, a local wallpaper manufacturer, I saw many well-known designers producing their own lines of wallpaper. I assisted in getting their artworks print ready, and I helped mix colors and set up their production. It was amazing to see an economy could be made from one artist's beautiful pattern designs. I am building a community of makers that care about the handmade quality of our products. Steve Jobs says, design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. Relativity's products have a social currency, which is to promote textile history and enrich your living space with modern patterns and colors that connect you to the world. The designs in our first collection come from all over: a Moroccan rug pattern, an Indian block printed fabric, a Japanese shibori or tie-dyed kimono. All of these beautiful historical examples of decorative motifs still excite us to this day, and each of them is hand-drawn and hand-printed. Many people don't know where their things are made. But there's a slow movement in our country to care about these things again. That's why Relativity's model is to illuminate the process and give back to global communities. Our papers and fabrics are made by us and our team. If you can help to support this brand getting off the ground, you will support 16 other creatives in their business. You'll support local Chicago manufacturers. You'll bring good design to many people, and you'll support one artist's dream to have a sustainable business model based on textile processes that really matter to the daily lives of its users. Please help us make our dream come true. Bring the world home with us as we launch our website and full line of products in spring 2016. Thank you so much for your donation.
And then I literally turn off the camcorder. So just immediate thoughts, like anybody have a reaction to the video or a question after watching it? What's your impression? I'm curious.
I mean, the very end made me laugh, the turning off the
Yeah.
camera, but you have a lot of good like video content there of the things being printed and stuff, which I feel like is helpful. Like it.
Yeah, that was kind of crucial, is getting some B-roll. Not just like me talking to the camera, but like behind the scenes, or just like me helping my intern design something on the computer, that kind of stuff. What else are you guys thinking about as you watched it?
It seemed pretty professionally done looking to me for someone who says that. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Annie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to me, when I'm watching it, I notice a couple of flaws, defects. Like there's a part where the script was recorded and it like there's a word that gets chopped off and you're like, wait, what did she say? And there's, you know, like when I recorded it, I was recording on my phone and I was just talking into my phone like this. And this is like iPhone 10 or iPhone version 9, maybe, because it was 2016. So you can hear like when I'm talking, because I didn't have a proper microphone or anything like that. Like my words are getting, there's a word for that in videographer language. But it's overall like kind of low budge. And I like that element of it because at the time when I started out, I didn't have a lot of followers on Instagram. I didn't really have a website. I didn't really have a business card. I didn't really have products per se. And so everyone knew that I was starting out. Everyone knew that this was something brand new. And they didn't expect me to have a fully fledged business and a very, very professional video, because that's what Kickstarter's for. Kickstarter is for people who are not yet established and they don't yet have all the bells and whistles, and they aren't necessarily doing it at a super professional level. So I'm going to teach you how to make some of those elements look more professional. And it's really relatively easy. But the, oh yeah, and Sydney's here saying, low tech vibe is much more relatable. Yes, people want to help you because you look like you're hustling and grinding and really scrapping it all together. But also that there was a list at the end, and we're going to come back to this, of all the people and businesses that my campaign was going to support. So it didn't look like money was just coming to Erin Minckley. It looked like money was going back out to support 17 other creatives, minus the attorney. All of those people were artists. And so we'll come back to that too. Okay, so let's go back to sharing the presentation. All right, so raise your emoji hand on Zoom if you guys know what a SMART goal is, or if you've ever heard of SMART goals. Caitlin, yes. Okay, So a SMART goal is very different than just having like a regular goal. And I love SMART goals. I learned this from my life coach and longtime friend. When I first started doing coaching as a person being coached, she taught me how to do this. And I will give you an example of something that we might have as a New Year's resolution or a goal, which is I want to get in shape. So is that a SMART goal? Is I want to get in shape a SMART goal?
No, because it's not measurable.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's also not that specific, right? Like,
Yeah.
if I were to say I want to have a 6-pack or I want to be able to run 6 miles, that's a little bit more specific, but being in shape is relative to whoever it is, right? Someone might just lose 10 pounds and say, I'm in shape, success. Whereas somebody else might say, you're not in shape, that's not in shape, right? So being as specific as possible, having something that's measurable, making sure that it's actually realistic or achievable in the period of time, and that it's relevant to you and that it's time-based. So I'm going to break this down for you guys. A SMART goal, instead of saying, I want to get in shape, would be, I want to be able to do 50 push-ups by the time I go to Mexico in the first week of March. I want to have like buff arms. Okay. So I can measure right now, I'm able to do 10 push-ups regular and 10 girl push-ups in a row, 20 push-ups. Okay. If I want to get to 50, I know that I'm almost halfway there. And at the halfway point, if I can do 25 regular style push-ups, I know that I'm 50% towards my goal. That is what makes it measurable. If I want to lose 10 pounds and this week I lost 1 pound, that's measurable. I have 9 pounds left to go. So those are specific and measurable goals. The A in achievable is very difficult for people who are creative. And also I might add in there people with ADHD. This has been my experience living in the human form, is that what I think is achievable might not be what other people think I can achieve. So when I set out to do this Kickstarter campaign, a lot of people were giving me feedback. Who loves feedback? Feedback could be something like, you really think that could happen? Or, let's see if you can make this work. Those are statements that are feedback. And what I was getting from that feedback, what I was inferring, is that they don't think that the goal is achievable. And the reason why they don't think that the goal can be achieved by me is because a lot of times people don't think that they could achieve that goal. And therefore, why would you be able to? So achievable is in the eye of the beholder. And I think that sometimes we have to be a little bit overly ambitious with our SMART goals, because we actually don't know what we can achieve until we actually do it. So something like a Kickstarter is not necessarily someone's first go-to for how to start a business. They don't think, let me do the riskiest and most publicly embarrassing thing I can possibly do to raise money, which is what Kickstarter is. But the thing that we need to circle back to is the R and the SMART goal. So I know an artist who wants to become an art teacher. And that means that she's going to have to go back to school and take a bunch of classes to become certified and get a credential to be able to teach. So one class at a time, she's going to take an art class. Is it relevant to her to take one art class or to be able to get this certification for teaching? If it's a life goal or a value, or it brings purpose to her life to be able to have a job related to art, or to teach others and give back to her community, then yes, it's relevant. But if your goal is to like make $1 million so you can buy a red Ferrari and then people will like you, probably not so relevant to like your purpose in life and what it means to be successful as an artist, or what it means to give back to a certain community. So that relevant bit is like, is this related in some way to the impact that you want to make in the world? So that's something that we need to stay on track with. Sometimes people set goals that are not relevant and they just think, well, I should start a business and make money because that's what I'm supposed to do, or that's what the only other option is, I go to work for someone else. So I'm going to do this, but maybe they don't really want to. They're just doing it because they think they should. That would mean that it's not really relevant to what you hope to do in your life. So anyways, the last one and most important and most tied to this whole idea of Kickstarter is it being time-based. So Kickstarter campaigns can be 30 days or 60 days, and you have to raise your the goal by then. If you don't raise the money by your date or your goal, all of the money goes back to the backers who have donated graciously to your campaign. So it's time-based for a reason. It's that you have a short period of time to get your shit together. If you gave yourself a whole year to raise $20,000, first of all, the money would get spread out, and you would, there are other platforms actually like GoFundMe and Indiegogo where the money goes into your bank account right away. If someone donates $5, it goes into your bank account. Someone gives you 25, it goes into your bank account. Someone gives you 250, it goes into your bank account. But if you know that your logo design is $700, are you going to be good at saving away that $700 and then paying your graphic designer for the logo? $5 at a time, if it's just dropping automatically into your bank account, are you going to be able to save that aside? This is why Kickstarter is really awesome, is because they give you all the money all at once, and then you can pay for what you've been saving for or crowdfunding for. So I think it's super important to have a goal. I think that it's a way to build your courage. I think that once you're courageous enough to have big, ambitious goals, I've heard them called BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. Once you achieve a big, hairy, audacious goal like this Kickstarter campaign idea, you guys, it builds a tremendous amount of confidence with how you carry yourself in the world. Like, I'm the shit. I just raised 20 grand. Like, people believe in me. And I think that it's important to have goals because you prove yourself wrong or you prove yourself right. Like, I think I can do it. And then you're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I can do it. Look at me go. Or you're like, I don't think I can do this. This was my experience. No one believes me. I don't even know if I can do this. And then I just punched in the number 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then I hit enter. And I was like, I have no idea if this is going to work. It was super scary. And I just put it out there to the world. So we kind of talked just about time-based fundraising and why it's more successful. But I seriously believe that it's better to have a short-term measurable goal and a time-based goal because it's urgent. If you are like I was, 99% funded at day 50 out of 60, I knew I had 10 more days to raise the rest of my money. And what started happening was I started to really feel the anxiety of what happens if it doesn't work out. And that anxiety, if you channel it well, can be turned into excitement. And the excitement gets shared with other people and they go, let's push her over the finish line. Let's help her achieve this goal. And it's with that urgency that other people start to feel like, oh my God, she only has 3 more hours, or she has 3 more days. I better help her get over the finish line. So this is why it's really important, I think, to do something time-based, is because of urgency. Okay, so how does Kickstarter work? If you guys have questions, please type them in the chat. I'm sort of looking at the chat periodically. So up until now, if you guys have a question that I haven't covered, maybe just throw it in the chat. Okay, so if you don't reach your goal, let's say you put in $20,000 and you only reach 19,999 by the time your Kickstarter campaign is over, all of the pledges go back to the credit cards of the people who are your backers. So you don't receive any of that money, and they get their money back if you don't fully fund. This means that you have to raise the goal, or the entire process of you marketing yourself for 30 days and making all these little incentive gifts is completely pointless, right? So it's a benefit of Kickstarter is that you set a goal knowing that you have to reach it. This is what encourages people to give. But with the incentive gifts, you can kind of see on the side of this slide where it says pledge $10, pledge $20, pledge $50. You get to choose the increments that people can donate. But I thought a lot of people would donate $10, like just the bare minimum. Only 5 people decided to go with the bare minimum. 83 people decided to do $20. 34 people, $50. And so what I was doing was I actually created these incentive gifts for each stage, and I'll get to it later, but I don't think that this is what people should do. This is actually a bad methodology. But you can choose like the levels of donation and how much specific amounts that you choose. But I will teach you some lessons in over gifting in a little bit. So that's a basics of how Kickstarter works. All right, so here's an advantage of doing a crowdfunding campaign. It's not just that you're going to raise money. Crowdfunding actually helps you find early adopters. So this is a business terminology. If you can imagine back to the day and time when phones didn't have a camera and you couldn't search on the internet with your phone. Someone once said, hey, let's make an iPhone. And everyone else said, that's a dumb idea. Who would want a computer in their pocket? So the 2.5% of people that said, this iPhone thing sounds like a good idea. In the very early days, like probably circa 2002, those 2.5% were innovators. They're thinking way beyond the curve. They're way ahead of the times. The 13.5% of early adopters were people that said, well, if Steve Jobs is telling me that I should believe in this, I'll believe in it. But I haven't yet seen it work, so I'm taking a chance here. I'm guessing, right? I'm going to invest in this idea. And then the early majority, late majority, and the laggards are like the 15% of us now that are like, okay, I'll get an iPhone. Like my mother still doesn't have a smartphone. She wants a flip phone and she barely uses an iPad. So she's like in the laggards category. Here we are 20 years later, she still doesn't have a smartphone. But everyone in between is like, oh, look, wallpaper is in style. I guess I should help support this artist-run business making wallpaper. Or, oh, look, this Instagram account called Relativity Textiles. How have I never heard of them before? Wow, they have 12,000 followers. Well, imagine in the days when I only had 300 followers and my mom was liking everything that I posted on Facebook and she was hearting everything on Instagram. She was the first person to react to everything on the computer. And it was quite embarrassing. But you know, she was an early adopter. She was one that believed in it before it was even seen through to completion. So this is what crowdfunding helps you do. It helps you find people that are somewhat of an investor in your idea. and they believe in you before the product has even seen the light of day. So another advantage is that campaigns are easy to share on social media. Now we can share anything, but you have a link, you just send it to someone in a post or in a message. And that this is the big idea that I want you to walk away with. Kickstarter campaigns are not you begging for money. Kickstarter campaigns are a marketing tool. This is like one of the easiest and best and most urgent and very exciting ways to share an idea for what you're up to with a lot of people and get them to share it too. Okay, so I have a question in the comments. Did you get any feedback on whether people donated specifically because of the incentives? Okay, so that's a good question, just to go back to incentive gifts. I had a couple people say to me, I don't really care if you send me the pillow that I got for donating $150. Just keep it. I just wanted to support you. And at some certain point, I told people they could order rolls of wallpaper. As you see on here, 3 rolls of wallpaper. I don't remember. I think this was at like a $500 gift. Well, guess what? At one point in time, I didn't have enough money even to make them the 3 rolls of wallpaper. And I had to email a bunch of people with my tail between my legs and say, I ran out of money from the Kickstarter and it would end up costing me way too much to send you the rolls that I promised. And guess what people said? It's okay, Erin, don't worry about it. I just wanted to support you. Literally, that's what they said. So I don't think that people necessarily were donating because they wanted the stuff. It wasn't about the swag, right? It was about the giving process. And I'm going to go over that in just one sec. So thanks for that question. Okay. When you do not ask for help, guess what you do? You take the giving process and you shut it down. You say, nah, that whole giving process, I don't care about it. I'm not going to ask for help. But when you do ask for help and you do allow people into your process, you give them a gift, like a serious gift of being able to experience this joy in their heart of having supported an artist or having supported a friend or having supported a female entrepreneur or having supported a local Washington, D.C. resident or having supported X, Y, and Z, a dog mom, a cat mom, literally anything that they associate with you being a nice human, they get joy from supporting that human. So think about that for a second. I have a story of a friend named Siddharth, and Siddharth passed away, God, probably 10, 15 years ago. He was a good friend from college, and every year Siddharth would run a marathon, and he would email all of these people that we were friends with in college, and he would say, guys, I'm running the LA marathon. Can you please sponsor me with $15? And I would donate $15, and guess what I would feel? I would feel so happy to be able to support my friend. And that he was running a marathon and that like somewhere on his t-shirt was my name and I was there with him. So what you're doing is you're not allowing people the experience of joy that they might get from being a part of what it is you're doing, to be on your team, to cheer you on. You're telling them, nope, I'm not going to give you that experience. I get so worked up about this. When we think that we can do everything ourselves, we're not allowing other people into our process. And so it's this weird individualistic thinking that we're supposed to do everything alone. It's kind of a backwards way of thinking. So just remember that you're allowing people an experience of joy You're not just like out on a street corner begging for money in a desperate attempt to do what you want to do in your life. You're actually allowing people in. So this is all mindset, and we're going to get to like the actual details of running a Kickstarter campaign, but you have to get beyond the misconceptions of what it feels like to fundraise. Giving or supporting is a chain reaction. I have another story for you. An artist named Michelle Hartney inspired me to do my Kickstarter campaign because she raised $2,500 on Kickstarter in 2015. She went on to do a project called Mother's Right, and it was eventually featured on CNN, her art project, her performance piece. And what she did was she purchased fabric, which I was a part of by screen printing a pattern onto the fabric, and that fabric was sewn into hospital gowns. The hospital gowns were then folded up and placed in a memorial type display for all the women who had lost their lives in childbirth in America. There were 1,800 hospital gowns. So she raised $2,500. She paid a portion of it to another artist, which happened to be me. And I printed all of this fabric for her. And she went on to involve 25 other women in this performance of folding the gowns and placing them in the memorial area. And this was all performed downtown Chicago on Labor Day. So interestingly enough, her doing a $2,500 campaign motivated me to do a $20,000 campaign. And it was because I saw her do it and I thought to myself, wow, if she can do that, why am I not doing it for my own project, for something that I'm interested in? So you never know how your campaign might inspire or influence someone else. Without trying to be inspirational, you might actually motivate someone else. The other thing that is like an ecosystem or a food chain is that when you raise money and pay another artist to design a logo for you or screen print some fabric for you, how many other creatives could you as a creative person potentially support in the process? Think about how the 226 backers helped me give money to 17 other creatives. So in fact, they supported 18 creatives, not just Erin Minckley. So why is giving so crucial? Maybe you guys could help me with your best answer here of why you think, like, why would you give to someone who was trying to raise money?
Because you care about them?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, because you actually show someone, hey, I care about you. Hey, I support you. Right? That's a really good one.
To cheer someone on
Mm-hmm.
so they keep going and doing good things.
Yeah. I mean, what if someone wants to like start a dog parlor and make all of the dogs in the world cleaner? Like, are they making the world a better place? Like, yes, in their own little niche, they are doing good. They're doing something good, right? Usually when artists do projects, it's usually something that makes the world a better place, right? So this is what leads to community, and it leads to overwhelming sense of gratitude. Being excited by someone's mission is mentioned in the comments, and wishing to be a part of that in an easy way, right? Like my sister who's running a giant marathon, I gave money and to Planned Parenthood, and that was way easier than supporting her by going on a run with her. Yes, totally. It's like effortless, but it's as impactful because you feel like you had been running alongside her the entire time. And it makes you feel connected to people. That's true. So I just put this at the end of this slide, that individualism leads to burnout. I'm thinking about all the single moms out there. I'm thinking about all the entrepreneurs out there. I'm thinking about everyone who is hiding their secret burning desire to start a business and trying to start up by themselves. How burnt out you can feel when you try not to have help. And how much struggle is involved when you tend to try and prove how capable you are by not asking for help. Because again, we're not standing on a street corner with a cardboard sign saying we'll work for food, right? We're doing something powerful with the money. We're not just going to pay ourselves and go buy some groceries and go buy a Ferrari and take a trip to Mexico with the money. We're going to do something with it. All right, so 2 more slides on mindset. This is the difference between finite thinking and infinite thinking. This is something I talk about when I pitch my program for launching your textile line to potential clients. I say, well, where you are right now is finite. There's an end to the situation that you're in. But infinite thinking is that there are endless possibilities. We don't know right now who's going to donate to our Kickstarter campaign. At some point in December, about 2 weeks after launching my Kickstarter campaign, a friend of mine from middle school named Heather, who happened to have married a man who started a famous shoe company called Tom's, donated $5,000 to my campaign. Could there be any way for me to predict that that was going to happen when I put in 20000 enter and I launched my campaign to the world with all that nervous energy? Is this going to work? Is this going to work? Is this going to work? Is there any way of knowing that someone might donate 1/4 of the amount that I needed to raise in one go? There was no way of knowing that. And that's what infinite thinking requires, is knowing that there's a potential of people loving this idea. There's a potential that I could raise even more money than I hope to. So being open to success and wealth and abundance at every stage, even right now when you're fucking broke. That's what infinite thinking is I have no money. That's finite. And infinite is I'm open to the possibility that money's out there for me, for my idea, for the thing I want to do, which I think is really cool. And that's what it's like to think as a CEO. We have to use infinite thinking if we are the leader of our brand, of our art process, of our small business, of our company, of our team, of our staff. Any kind of leader has to have infinite thinking, that the possibility of it really succeeding beyond our wildest dreams, it's a possibility. We don't know how, but that it's out there. So this last little slide has an illustration from my book, Artists Who Thrive. And the chapter is called Smoking the Hopium Pipe. And here is this lady high on hope, just chillaxing on her mushroom. She is taking a leap of faith. She doesn't know if it will work out, but she's going to die trying. Do or die trying, because she's high on hope. So this is the attitude that we have to have when launching a Kickstarter campaign. It's a little bit whimsical. It's a little bit like, I just trust the universe and I'm manifesting, and all of those kinds of languages that people tend to use in their very heartfelt emails and ad campaigns, is that you're open and that you have the faith and that you believe that something's going to work out, even if you don't know how it's going to work out, that you just know it's got to. There's no other choice. Like, it has to work out because I want this that badly that I'm willing to do uncomfortable things like post on Facebook every single day for 60 days until it happens. So here's the nitty gritty. I want you guys to get out a pen and paper if you don't have one. I'm going to teach you exactly how I fully funded my campaign. You ready? Do we need to take a stretch break? Does anyone have any questions or comments about the whole mindset component of how do I format my brain to do this ambitious thing? I'm just waiting to see if there's any comments. Okay, so write them in the chat if you do have some. On your phone right now, I want you guys to, I'm just clearing out some silly notifications. I want you to go to the App Store and I want you to find an app called Voice Memos. And it looks like this. This should be like on your phone already if you have an iPhone. But it looks like this when you open it up and you click the red button and you can record anything that you want and then you can play it back to yourself. So this is how I recorded the script for my video. I first wrote down what I was going to say to some degree. Then I recorded it holding my phone as a microphone. And I timed myself to see if it was 4 minutes or less. And what usually happens is that whatever you've written down or whatever you're like off the cuff just recording, it's usually too long. So you have to refine it and refine it and refine it. There might be 5 or 6 versions of it where you record and then you get messed up and you read it wrong and then you have to record it again. So we're going to use just this very simple rudimentary way of recording your script. And if you don't like writing, then just say it to the phone and then you have to transliterate what you're hearing again into like a document. Okay, so you have 2 things. You have like Google Doc and you have a script on your voice memo app. The next thing you're going to do is for the video, as you guys pointed out, when you were watching the video, there's lots of good footage, right? There's lots of B-roll and there's in the beginning, me talking to the camera. I had a little bit of a script that I was recording. I had a piece of paper on the other side of the camera that I could actually read right beyond the lens of the camera. And I was reading my script right beyond the camera. So you can get a little tripod like this, and you can use your phone to record yourself talking to the camera for like less than a minute, because remember, people's attention span is short. So I believe that it was 30 seconds of me talking directly to the camera. And then I cut to my script that I had pre-recorded. Hi, or this is what I'm going to do. But the first part was, hi, I'm Erin. Here's what I'm doing. So the who, the what, the how. This is how much money I'm raising. That's really important to mention right up front. Why are you raising it? Like, what are you doing? And be as specific as possible. Like, I'm starting a business is different than I'm going to design and manufacture wallpaper. It will cost me $20,000. The reason why this is so important to me is I don't want to work for someone else ever again. Literally just be honest, be as authentic as possible. This is what I'm doing. And don't ever say, I'm not sure if it's going to work out. You have to behave as if you're confident and that you're high on hope that it's definitely going to happen. So this is me, this is what I'm doing, this is why, and this is how much it's going to cost. Okay. Then what I want you to do with between the script and the video is that you're going to try to chunk out 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, up to 30 seconds, or maybe even 1 minute of imagery that goes with each sentence. So we're going to watch the video one more time through. And I want you guys to think about if you had written my script, or if you were writing your own script, what would you want people to see as you say, I'm a single mom and I'm trying to start my own business? Maybe you would just want to see images of me making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and putting it on a plate and setting it down on the table in front of my child who's about to take a big bite of their sandwich. And you have to figure out how long is that little sentence in my script. And that's how much video you need to come up with for that section. You're essentially writing a screenplay. Okay, so you need to figure out little segments and what imagery would come there. And then what happens if you don't have the right imagery? Do you guys remember the part of the video where there's a woman in a kimono walking down the sidewalk? Do you think I flew to Japan to take a couple videos of that footage? No, I am going to teach you a trick on what to do in that case. So I'm going to stop sharing that for just a second, and we're going to go back to the video. And I want you guys to watch carefully as if you're paying attention to the screenplay.
Hi, I'm Erin Minckley, founder of Relativity Textiles. Most of you know me as an artist, a teacher, an entrepreneur, or a mom. But today I want to tell you a little bit about my Kickstarter campaign and how your support of a really important project could mean the world to me. I've spent the last year putting together a collection of wallpaper patterns that come from my own artwork, my own drawings, and are manufactured right here in Chicago, Illinois. I'm asking for your support in this project so that it will succeed in becoming a well-known brand for luxury handmade objects inspired by the world. I studied at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, where I found my calling.
All right, I'm pausing because this is my background before starting a business. This gives me credibility. I know what the hell I'm doing because I have a degree in art from this special place, and I made these crazy sculptures. Check out my work, and I'm qualified to have an artist-owned business because look at my acumen. You can include something here.
I learned how to make fabric by screen printing and dyeing cloth. It is through sharing the love of textile history that I conceived of the brand Relativity. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity states that two people looking at the same object can see differently depending on their vantage point and momentum. What a beautiful way of understanding design and the spectrum of aesthetic choices we make when decorating them.
So even the spectrum of choices we make, and you're seeing an image, this is a stock image of a rainbow of colors. So I'm looking for something that has a spectrum in it. As I'm planning my script, I have to think what image would go great here. And that little quote from Albert Einstein, well, it wasn't really a quote, it's his theory of relativity, which was inspired by my initials at the time were EMC, like E equals MC squared. When I was married, that was my initials. So that's the theory of relativity. So I threw that in here, which was a little nod to why my logo and my business is called Relativity. So I add Albert Einstein in for credibility, okay? Like pull from wherever you need to give yourself some credibility here.
Working for the past 2 years at Artisan Handprints, a local wallpaper manufacturer, I saw many well-known designers producing their own lines of wallpaper. I assisted in getting their artworks print ready, and I helped mix colors and set up their production.
So I'm talking about my work history in this industry and how I know a lot about printing wallpaper. I'm also showing how wallpaper is made. This is very seductive stuff. So if you're making pillows, you might want to show yourself putting a pillow insert inside the fabric and zipping up the zipper. If you're making eyeglasses, you might want to show yourself wearing them and putting them on, or someone else putting them on. But showing how something is made is a very seductive way of illustrating that you are a part of the process from start to finish. It's also like Mr. Rogers' tour of the crayon factory. People love knowing how things are made.
It was amazing to see an economy could be made from one artist's beautiful pattern designs. I am building a community of makers that care about the handmade quality of our products. Steve Jobs says, design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works.
So I'm talking about design. I decided to have a shot of the computer and how I design the wallpapers. That was something that I hired a videographer to come over to my house with a really fancy video camera and record. But you can easily do on an iPhone now, because I have a friend who shoots for HGTV. And he said that an iPhone 13 or better is actually acceptable footage for putting on TV. They use iPhones to make TV shows. So if they can do that, you can surely, you don't have to hire a videographer, just have a friend or your partner or your kid record a video for you. Also, I quoted Steve Jobs, okay? I'm trying to link my brand to the most well-known brand that's a trustworthy name in technology.
Relativity's products have a social currency, which is to promote textile history and enrich your living space with modern patterns and colors that connect you to the world. The designs in our first collection come from all over.
By the way, all of these are stock images, which I will talk about in a sec, but I didn't go to India to record any of this.
Moroccan rug pattern, an Indian block printed fabric, a Japanese shibori or tie-dyed kimono. All of these beautiful historical examples of decorative motifs still excite us to this day. And each of them is hand-drawn and hand-printed. Many people don't know where their things are made, but there's a slow movement in our country.
I just have to stop on Chester because this is my friend Chester. He's 70 years old. He's been printing wallpaper since he was 20. And I just love how he's like looking off into the distance as I'm talking about the dreaminess of handmade things and slow movement of like owning your own bees and knitting your own sweaters. Like, it's really getting sentimental over here, you guys. Okay.
Country to care about these things again. That's why Relativity's model is to illuminate the process and give back to global communities. Our papers and fabrics are made by us and our team. If you can help
Yep,
support
there's
this
the
brand
blip.
getting off the ground, you will support 16 other creatives in their business. You'll support local Chicago manufacturers. You'll bring good design to many people.
You're going to bring good design to many people. I didn't know if that was actually ever going to happen, but I'm promising that it's going to happen. And really importantly, this list of different people that you're going to support, it's almost like a thank you and a nod to them. And they might also share this video because they're mentioned. But just really listing out, you could even list out dollar for dollar what it's going to. And instead of saying Zach Jensen logo design, who was my friend in high school and sat across from me in art class, you could just say graphic design, $700, right? You don't have to mention people by name necessarily, but you are telling people what the money's going towards.
And you'll support one artist's dream to have a sustainable business model based on textile processes that really matter to the daily lives of its users. Please help us make our dream come true.
Do you notice that I'm saying us? Please help us make our dream come true. It was just me. Just me and the brand, just us. So I'm talking about it as if the brand already exists, as if it's already a team of 10 people.
Bring the world home with us as we launch our website and full line of products in spring 2016. Thank you so much for your donation.
Smile at the camera, reach over, turn off camera. So it's kind of funny for me to watch that video because I notice all of the imperfections of the video, but can you kind of understand now like what it would be like to script out your video and then decide what are the kinds of things I want people to see? I want people to see that it's globally inspired. I want people to see that it's hand screen printed. I want people to see that it's supporting Chicago artisans and craft processes. I want people to know that it's supporting me, an artist, and my dream to own my own business, and that I have interns who are helping me with all the design. And these are the kinds of things that I'm crafting a story about the community that it supports and the differentiating factors, as they call it, from a branding standpoint, like what makes me different than someone else who's going to be launching a wallpaper company. So those are some things to include in your video. It's like how it's made, really what the business is going to stand for, what other types of people are going to benefit from this. Those are the kinds of things that all branding and videos should have in them. But this Kickstarter is really no different. But you're telling people exactly what your mission is and what your brand is going to support and what their money is going to actually go to. Okay, so that's a little bit on the video. Who has questions on the video and the script? One thing I didn't mention is that there was a stock song being played as I'm speaking and recorded the voice memo. There's also a stock song that's going on in the background. So you can also find those on different websites, or you could pay for the license to use a song. There are lots of different websites for that, but if you give a quick Google search to like free, royalty-free music, you can download different songs online. What I didn't quite mention is that there are websites like Shutterstock and Adobe Stock and a bunch of different websites that you can go to. And for a 30-day trial or a 14-day trial or a 7-day trial, you can put in your email address, sign up for an account, and download up to 5 or 10 videos, stock videos, 30 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 minute even. And you can download those videos for free. And typically they want $30 a month for the membership and whatever. But as soon as you're done downloading the footage that you need, like, okay, Japanese kimono, check. Indian block printing, check. Those are both actually really hard videos to find online. So hopefully you choose something a little simpler. You know, Moroccan rugs, check. As soon as you find all those videos, you can just cancel your subscription to the website. And if you need an extra 5, you can go in with another email, sign up for a 7-day membership, download the videos that you need, and then cancel the membership without ever having to pay for anything. So that's an artist hack. I have once been, known to dive through dumpsters for art materials when I found like a cool chair or a bunch of blueprints that were being thrown away by an architecture firm. So I'm scrappy. Or you could just pay for those things. But this is an artist's way of doing things, especially a starving artist's way of doing things, is that you would just go get a free membership and download what you need. Okay, so moving on, I want to talk about incentive gifts, and then I'm going to let you go in 5 more slides. Incentive gifts were a big headache for me when I did my Kickstarter campaign, and I will send you guys the link to my Kickstarter so that you can go back and revisit it at some point if you want to check out what the incentives gifts were. But I had a $10 increment, a $20 increment, a $50 increment, 50 or more, 65 or more, 100 or more, 200 or more, 300 or more, 500 or more, 900 or more, and 1250 or more. Okay, and of the top 3, 0 people donated to those to getting like however many wallpaper. I even offered free installation in any room of your choice, anywhere in the world. Like, what the hell? Nobody donated to those. They just authentically gave without checking the box that they wanted the incentive gift. Okay, so here's a couple incentive gifts that I would suggest. Oops. For $5, you get a virtual high five. For $25 or more, your name will appear on our website. For $50 or more, we'll give you a shout out on social media. These are the kinds of incentives that really cost you, as the person running the campaign, nothing to do. Okay, what if you have a bunch of holiday ornaments left over from a sale that you had in December? You could give for $100 donation a free Christmas ornament because it's sitting in a box under your bed anyway. Or you could have a pillowcase, or you could have a mug that you design. So long as you already have those things ready to give away, art prints or thank you notes or cards that you made. These are kinds of things that you could give away up until a certain amount if you already have them. I would not recommend that you go create new canvas tote bags with your brand name on it just to give away as incentive gifts, because then what you end up doing is spending more money to try and make money. So I would give as many virtual high fives and thank yous and maybe a postcard in the mail as you can, something that's really a low cost to you. For high ticket items, like let's say you're selling wallpaper, what would 3 rolls of wallpaper typically cost? Maybe $1,200. So for $1,800, you could give them 3 rolls of wallpaper. That way, you know that you're covering the cost of making those rolls for them, and then collecting $1,200 as part of the fundraising campaign. Like, yes, it would actually be cheeky for you to sell your items and just get a couple sales, but you don't want to spend all the money that you made making those things that you're going to send to people, because at the end of the day, then you don't have any money really left over. So you're going to sell them way more expensive than it would be on your website. Otherwise, you can just tell people, go buy my wallpaper on my website, right? So this is one thing that I tried. I said on the 1st and the 15th of the month that I was going to do a giveaway. And I went on to Instagram, and this is before we even had reels and video. And I posted this image and I said, if you give on January 2nd and you donate any amount of money, you will get an original painting that I'm going to do like today. And I'm going to take pictures and post it for all the people that donate. And I did that strategically around the 1st and the 15th of every month. And there were 4 of those dates in 60 days, the 1st, the 15th, the 1st and the 15th. Why do you think I chose those days? Anybody have a guess?
To make progress towards your goal and like when it was gonna cut off.
Yeah, it's kind of like at 1/4 of the way there, 1/2 of the way there, 3/4 of the way there, and then the final push. But actually, Caitlin, I did that because I know that most people get paid by their employer on the 1st and the 15th. So I know that you have money to spend right now, people. Donate today. And that was the real reason why I decided to say on the 2nd and on the 16th, hey guys, today only, is because I knew I wasn't going to drain your bank account to get a $100 donation. You just got paid. So that was something that I didn't read anywhere. I just kind of knew, like, my husband had a regular job and he got paid every 15 days. So that was why I decided on those days to ask for money. All right, so marketing your campaign. There's a couple traditional ways of marketing. Clearly, Facebook was the #1 way for my campaign to be shared, because you can write longer posts. You can post as many pictures and videos as you want, and you can link your campaign. You can also comment to everyone who comments and shares. You can make other notes and remarks. You can edit it at any time. Facebook is a little bit better for lengthy posts. I suggest that people post every day. How does that make you guys feel? Like if you do a 30-day campaign, you're gonna have to get on Facebook every day and post, guys, I'm running a Kickstarter campaign. Have you heard about it yet? I'm halfway to my goal. Guys, I'm launching a business and I'm raising money for it on Kickstarter. Here's the link. Every single day, if you were to go on Facebook and post the same, more or less, information, is every single one of your followers going to see it every day? No. Maybe 1/8 of the people that follow you will see it the first day. And maybe 1/8 of the people that follow you will see it the second day. And then a couple of people that saw it the first day will also see it on the third day. But eventually, the more you post, the more exposure you're going to have in the timeline, in the live feed of your Facebook followers. So it's just a ticker. It's a time ticker. Like anyone that's on in the morning is going to see what you posted last night. But if you don't post every day, you're not going to hit all of your followers. So with the power of Instagram, you can do reels, you can go live, you can post on stories, you can post static pictures and posts. And on Facebook, you can write lengthy posts about what this means for you and your life moving forward if you were to successfully fund your campaign, how excited it would make you. And will you please donate? And will you please share? This is the most important ask. Can you please share this with your Facebook followers? And the more shares you get, not only does the algorithm bump you and it says 12 people shared this post, let's make it go viral. Let's show more people this post because it's being engaged with. But also more people are seeing your campaign. So if your mom reposts your post, multiple people in her demographic and her friends who have money will be able to donate to your Kickstarter because you're so-and-so's daughter or son, and they like your mom. And they want to support your mom and her children. Likewise, your partner, likewise, your children, likewise, anyone else who supports you, like your best friends. You got to think about a circle of maybe 10 people who really, really would lay down in the street for you. And you're going to ask them, can you please post this on your Facebook timeline? Thank you so much. Even if they're not active on Facebook, if they would just share your post and not write anything, it's much better if they say, my beautiful wife is running a Kickstarter campaign. Can you please support her? It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much. Bye. But if they just blanket share it on their timeline, you're going to get more eyeballs. And someone out there might say, oh, cool. Look what she's doing. That's so cute. I don't even know her, but I'm going to give her $10. And this is what happened for me. I was not in a marriage where my husband was supportive of my Kickstarter campaign, which led to the downfall of our marriage because he didn't donate to my campaign and he didn't cheer me on. But that's a story for another book. I hacked into his Facebook and posted as if I was him. And I said, my beautiful wife is running a Kickstarter campaign. She's leaving all her part-time jobs to start a business. Isn't that cool? Would you mind supporting her? And a couple of flight attendants from Delta Airlines that live in totally different states and I've never met them were like, oh, wow, that's cool. He's supporting his wife. I like him. We worked together once on an airplane. I'm going to support. And so you never know, again, infinite thinking, if someone shares it, who's going to end up supporting you because they like that person. All right, let's talk about the best way to motivate people. Peer pressure. So pictured in this grid of 9 human beings are 3 people I went to high school with and 4 people I went to college with, and 1 cousin. So this is a really great way to weekly or daily display images of people who have graciously donated to your campaign. What I would do is I would go and screenshot their photo on their Facebook profile. And then I would go into an app, which I want you to go to the App Store while you're on the phone with me here and find an app called Layout. And it looks like this one. Kind of looks like Instagram. And within Layout, at the very end, you have a way, this was me being Wednesday with a filter for Snapchat. You have a way of adding 9 different unique pictures to a grid. So this is one picture with 9 pictures in it. It's just one picture. So this isn't like my Instagram feed, the last 9 photos. It's one photo with 9 people's faces in it that you screenshot on your phone, their Facebook profile. And in the middle, as you see on the slide presentation, is the Kickstarter logo. That was because I only had 8 people donate and I just needed to fill up the airspace. So I got the Kickstarter logo. It doesn't even look like that anymore by screenshotting it. And then that was what I included in the middle there. So imagine you went to college with me and 5 people that we were friends with donated to my campaign, but you haven't donated yet. Are you gonna rush to go donate? Oh my God, Emily already donated and Lindsay donated and Meg donated. Gosh, I better go and donate. Now's the time. And you're mentioning them in your post. You're saying, thank you so much to the following people, and you're tagging them in the post. Why? They might share that post on their timeline. It might appear on their timeline. Other people are gonna see that. Their friends are gonna see that. This is a way of tagging people that are your backers and getting them to be your early adopters and getting them to essentially be your salespeople. They get to be your salespeople. So they're promoting you. Okay, so let's talk about a couple old school ways of disseminating information like the Pilgrims used to. Email. Nowadays, we like to call people, maybe we text people, maybe we DM them on Instagram. But what I encourage you to do is come up with a form email that you say, hello, friend. I am embarking on a new journey into entrepreneurship or into owning my own business or into designing my own textile line or into developing some drapery trims of my own. I would love if you can support me. Here is a link to the Kickstarter campaign. I'm trying to raise $20,000. The deadline is November 31st or March 10th. Please make sure that you donate by this date. Any amount is great. And if you don't mind, please post this link on your social media. Thanks so much. Bye. And you send this email to literally everyone you can think of. Now, if you don't have an email list yet, and you don't have an email newsletter yet, I'm gonna post something in the chat for you that is a link that I share with people all the time for the email newsletter that I provide. And I think it gives you a discount because I'm doing like a referral program thing. Let me see if I can find it. I'll find it in just a second for you. Or I can actually send it to you after this presentation. So if you don't have an email provider, for $19 a month, you can go to flowdesk.com and you can get an email list together. The people that are your friends are going to be the first people on your email newsletter list. Everyone who backs your Kickstarter campaign, remember, they're an early adopter. They believe in your business, not just you. So this is your email list. This is where it starts. And originally 226 people was all I had on my email list. And Kickstarter does give you their email and first name and last name. So you can email people even if you don't know who they are. The other thing that I would suggest is coming up with a copy paste version of this email that's short enough to be a DM. So if you were to message people on Facebook and on Instagram, you could say hello space, and then you fill in their name, and then you direct message people in LinkedIn, in Facebook, in Instagram, wherever you want. And you could even text message people and you send them and say, hey, I don't know if you saw this yet on social media, but I'm doing a Kickstarter. I'm really nervous about it. I don't know if it's going to go through. I have 12 more days. Would you please help me share this on your profile? Will you please donate? Even any small amount will do. $10 would mean the world of difference to me. And you give them the excuse to donate the least amount possible. Because guess what, you guys? Of all the backers, the smallest donation, the smallest amount of people donated $10. The most amount of people donated 100 or 150. So if you tell them it's okay if you only have $5, $10, any amount means the world to me. They will go on there and they'll make their own decision about what's appropriate for them to donate. But you're just trying to get everybody you know to know what you're doing. And not even just about Kickstarter, whatever the Kickstarter's funding. Like I'm writing a book. Like, wouldn't you want to know that that's happening before it's happening? Or would you love to see someone be like, I published a book, here's the Amazon link. You're like, wait, what? How come you didn't tell me this was happening? So people really like to be in the know before something big launches. So this is what you're doing. You're sharing pre-launch like the Pilgrims used to. All right, stories and reels. Yes, you have to. Sorry, you don't have a choice here, even if you're shy, even if you don't like being salesy, even if blah, 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 you still have to use these resources. So stories and reels exist nowadays, and they didn't when I did my Kickstarter, but you can go live, you can record a quick short video, and those typically, reels especially, live on for multiple days after you record them, and people continue to see them for many days afterwards. Whereas stories, you can post a link to your Kickstarter, and every 48 hours, you can post a new story that says, I'm 17% towards my goal. I'm 23% towards my goal. I only need $1,000. I only need $500. Who's going to donate? And you can post short stories about the measurable, remember SMART goals, how measurable it is. And you're going to share with people time-based, real time, I'm almost towards my goal. Here's how much I have left. Those are the kinds of things that should go in stories. And in reels, you can just say, hey, my name's Erin. I don't know if you guys heard this, but I'm going to be doing something really big. I'm raising money. Who wants to help me? Click the link in my bio to donate. It's Kickstarter. I have 30 days to do this. It's scary. I don't know if it's going to work. Please cheer me on. Any amount is a good amount. Something like that. So that's what you can post on Reels. It's basically a live and spoken version of what you would send in an email or a text. You're just saying it out loud. So again, you could have your camera set up with your script behind it, and you could just be reading from that little copy paste version of what you were sending to people as a text message. Okay. Along the way, as people donate, it's a really good idea to start writing thank you notes so that by the end, you don't have to write 225 thank you notes, but also you're continuing to show who has donated. You're not just posting about them and tagging them, you're actually sending, you might even be taking pictures on a daily basis of all the thank you notes that you're writing. And that's something that could go into stories or reels. But showing your gratitude for people that have donated and just expressing, guys, I am so in awe of how many of my friends support me. I just think that's so special. Thank you guys so much. And just expressing your gratitude constantly is a really important way to make people feel like they've made a good decision in donating money. And it motivates people probably more than peer pressure. Even though I said peer pressure is the best way to motivate people, gratitude is actually probably better. So that is my last slide. And now I'm opening up to you guys to see if I missed anything that's a burning question for you as we wrap up this webinar, exactly 1 hour and a half long. Feel free to come off mute if you guys want to ask questions. You can go on camera if you want, but you don't have to. And remember, any question that you ask might be a question that someone else already has.
What is the thought process behind like a 30-day campaign versus 60, other than just like having more opportunity to make more money?
Yeah, I think I was super hesitant, like, because I was unsure of my ability to raise that amount of money in a short period of time. I decided to give myself the most time possible. And if they had 12-month campaigns, I don't think they would succeed any better than a 30-day campaign. But I thought that 60 days, especially since I started on December 12th, and then we hit the holidays and then New Year's. And I thought, okay, if I end on January 15th, that's right in this period of time where people are already spending a lot of money on family vacations or presents or the holidays in general. So I wanted to give extra time until February 10th to allow for that seasonal, lull of when people are spending money. But surprisingly, I don't know everything. More people gave right between Christmas and New Year's than any other time. And so when I thought, oh, no one has money during this time to spend on charitable things, actually, I was completely wrong. Probably a lot of people wanted to spend in 2022 to write off their charitable donations on their taxes, or for whatever reason, they had extra money and felt very generous during the holidays. So, okay, we have another question. Of all the channels you use to ask for donations, which one do you think was the most successful? I feel like it would be texting or DMs. Okay, so I don't actually have analytics on like who donated and how did I contact them. I think that it was, number one, I want to just say a combination of all the efforts, because some people I direct messaged and posted to Facebook that they might have also seen that. One thing I didn't mention, it's in my notes, but I didn't have my notes viewable, is that I went into groups on Facebook and I told the group, hey group, I'm raising money, here's the link. So whether it was like a moms in business group or a group from my kids' school and all the parents, or a networking group, like I had a physical networking group that I attended every Tuesday, I emailed all of them and said, guys, I'm doing this thing, so that all of them knew, everyone knew that I was doing this. It wasn't a surprise, it wasn't a secret. And even alumni groups that I belong to for my art, people that had graduated from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, people that I went to high school with. My 5th grade teacher, Nancy Jensen, gave $25. So like I was reaching out to people that in some cases I hadn't talked to in 12, 15, 20 years and saying, hey, how are you? I saw that you have a bunch of cute little children. I'm raising money. Donate. Bye. I hope you're good. Okay, bye. How does Kickstarter work? Ari, how much money they get from your overall money you raise? Are taxes taken out or no, because they're all small gifts? Good question. Okay. So if you raise money as an individual, it is on your taxes going to be income. So you will pay taxes on whatever money you receive as if your employer had paid you. It's income. So unless you have like a not-for-profit setup and you're doing the Kickstarter as that entity, and the money's going into that bank account, you are going to have to pay taxes on this, whether from a business perspective or a personal perspective as income. The second item is that Kickstarter takes 5% of whatever you raise. So for those 168 people that raised $1 million in the design category, Kickstarter made 5% of that revenue. Additionally, they take out a certain fee for Stripe. So if Caitlin, you go in there and you type in your information and you want to donate to my Kickstarter campaign, you put in your credit card information. And I believe that there's a box that people can check where it says, do you want to donate your $20 plus the credit card processing fee so that the person crowdfunding doesn't get charged? I think there's a box that you can check there. And I think you can offer that option. If someone decides not to check the box, another 3% comes out for a credit card processing. So you could lose up to 8%, between 8 and 10%. So $20,000 raised, I think I got a check for $18,000, 18,000 and some change. So there is a tremendous amount of money taken out, but it costs money to make money. Think about if you're going to the bank and you're trying to take out a $20,000 loan. Is the interest rate going to be more than 5%? Can you even get a $20,000 loan as a person who's been in business 0 days? So these are ways of legitimizing how much money you kind of like lose, is that if you were doing it another way, you would probably lose more money or about the same amount of money. It's kind of sad because my mom donated $1,000 to my Kickstarter campaign, like pretty early on, like 6 days in or something. And I was like, Mom, why did you do that? You could have just written me a check for $1,000 or like Chase Quick paid me. So $200 of that might have gotten, or not $200 of that, 5% of that went out the window, you know, right away. Yeah, I lost about $2,000 on the transaction. So like potentially all of her donation was, you know, gone. But that's what you would pay to make this money. Yeah, each person's credit card is processed. So depending on how many people donate, if it was one person donating $10,000, it's just 3% of that for Stripe. I hope that answered your question. What other questions do you guys have? Or what's going through your mind? Because I feel like when I talk about it in this way, it might sound easy, but like actually doing it is not so easy. What goes through, what's your hesitation maybe, if you wanted to share something like questions that you have on whether or not you could actually do this?
I
Like,
mean, I think,
oh, go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say, I think it does, you do make it sound really easy, but I know that it's not, and particularly just keeping up the momentum of like asking people repeatedly about this. I think that's what makes me the most I don't want to say nervous about it, but like that's the thing that I know would be the hardest.
Right.
And yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm going to use you as a little bit of a model because someone else might get something from this. So I have privileged information to know about you, Caitlin, that you had during the holidays painted a bunch of Christmas ornaments and you were marketing them on your website, right? And you launched them to the world and you posted which ones had sold and which ones were still available. And you were sharing your art with people and it was for sale. Right? And every day you would photograph a couple new ones or paint a couple new ones and then put them out there to the world. So it's no different than launching some products that are for sale, except that it's a link that people go and pay money for something that they're not necessarily going to get, like a physical widget or thing. It's that same idea that you would say, I'm doing something creative. I'm sharing my gift with the world. Won't you please donate? I have $10,000 more to raise. Here's the people that have already purchased. Instead of saying, these are the ornaments that sold, you would say, these are the people that have already donated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's just as much effort, but the messaging is slightly different. So I think, you know, it comes back down to like, I don't want to ask for help, or is it taboo for me to like be raising money? Is it taboo for me to be like asking people for support? And you have to keep circling back to the purpose. Like, what is the purpose of me doing this? I'm going to share my art with the world. I'm creating beauty. I'm creating wallpaper designs for people's rooms, and they will enjoy that bedroom more if they have wallpaper on it than they did before. Or whatever it is that you are creating is going to go out there in the world and live, and it's going to have its own legacy. So it's going to be able to exist without you there to be like, I make wallpaper, you should buy it, sell it, buy it for me. Here's my website, here's this. Once you have created a product and you put it out there to the world, at that point in time, anyone can buy it, which means anyone can enjoy it. And which means you don't necessarily know how much you're going to impact someone's life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
So you got to like always return back to that thought, like I'm doing something purposeful. I'm doing something that's relevant. That R from SMART goal. Sydney says, I have the same hangups, Caitlin, but one thing that I guess makes me feel a bit better is that I personally haven't gotten annoyed at someone asking me for donations. It's so commonplace now, which makes it less vulnerable, I think. And like you guys can see that Kickstarter has funded $7 billion worth of projects. And it's been around for like 15 years. So it's nothing new to go on and say, I have a product-based business that I'm launching. You know, it's not like you're saying, hi guys, I'm broke, buy my groceries. That would be totally different, right? Eventually your wallpaper company will make so much money that it will pay for your groceries. But like the purpose of your Kickstarter campaign isn't that you're asking people to fund your life. You're asking people to contribute to you making something really cool that would have a purpose and a value. So it's a slight tweak of mindset. It's a slight tweak, but even if you have to create a post-it note that says, I'm doing something valuable for others, and you just stick that on the mirror, it's not about me. It's about the value I can bring to everyone, right? And that's like when Tom's, for example, created a shoe company. For every pair of shoes that you buy, a pair of shoes goes to someone in a third world country. Like people want to buy those shoes. They have to buy shoes anyway. And we have to donate money to certain things to feel good about ourselves all year, every year anyway. Either you're going to hand a $20 bill out the window to someone who's waiting at the highway off ramp, or you're going to send $20 to somebody's Kickstarter campaign. Like, it makes you feel good. You're going to do it anyway. Might as well give to Caitlin, Sydney, or Annie. And so if you think about it that way, they're going to donate to something. Wouldn't you want them to donate to you? They're going to give that money away somewhere anyway. Erin, did you mention that you don't get the money unless you reach the target? Yes. Yeah, I did mention that, that it increases the urgency when you have this like timestamp. Like, I have 5 more days and I'm not fully funded. If I don't get fully funded, all the money is going to go back. And what happened was, I went to my networking group on Tuesday, and everyone from my networking group knew that I was doing a Kickstarter. They were following along every week for 8 weeks until my Kickstarter campaign was fully funded. Some of them weren't really checking in with it. Some of them only went to the website once. A couple of them donated. And I said, on the week that I got fully funded, it was 7 days before, or 10 days before the deadline. I actually got funded before the deadline. So it took away all that anxiety. Like, okay, now I can breathe. I actually made it. It happened. People said, hey, how's the Kickstarter campaign going? And I said, oh, it was great. We got fully funded, and like 10 days before the deadline. And this one person, Justin, came up to me and he said, oh man, I was watching and I was going to donate $1,000 in the last hour. If you didn't get fully funded, I was going to complete the circuit for you and make you go over the finish line. But good thing you didn't have to do that. Like, you're fully funded. And I was like, I could still use $1,000. Like, you can still donate even though I reached my target. But some people came to me and said, we were watching so closely. If you hadn't gotten to your goal, we would have helped you across the finish line. So several people did say, we were willing to donate again, or we were going to get on there and help you through if it came down to like a make or break moment. So, and that guy's like an insurance salesman in my networking group. He's not my brother-in-law. He's not somebody like so special to me, but he was vying for this female-owned local business startup. Like, it was something that felt near and dear to his heart for some reason. And he was going to help me across the finish line. And I didn't even expect that. I didn't expect some of the generosity that happened. And just to reiterate one more time, you know, this is about raising money. It's about starting something. It's about creating something. It's about going on a limb. But really, it's about realizing how many people are out there that want to see you succeed. And it's a great affirmation of how many people silently, secretly support you every day, but they're not donating money to you every day. And so you get to finally see who cares about you and who is voting for you. And that's something that I didn't expect to be like an outcome, is that overwhelming feeling that I had a team of people that were willing to help me pick up the pieces if it didn't work out. And especially at that point in my life where I was getting divorced in the same month as starting a business, I don't recommend that to anyone. It's a really horrible idea. But I was in a low point personally and in the highest point of my entire life professionally, all at once. So range of emotions, but there were people cheering me on. And it helped me get through some stuff that was personally really devastating, to know that even if like my own husband didn't support me, 225 other people really liked what I was doing and they thought I was pretty great. So it does something for the confidence level. Like, I don't think that I could have confidently gone out in the world and been like, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm starting a business, if I couldn't say, Well, 225 people think that I can, so I can. I'm going to choose to believe them. Any other questions, guys, or comments or? All right, so if you guys don't have anything else, I will send you a couple links after this presentation. If you don't mind, I think I have everyone's emails, but if you guys are watching this in the replay, which I will post this video somewhere, please feel free to email me. It's Erin, E-R-I-N, at relativitytextiles.com. If you have questions or if you want any other resources that I have to give for like email newsletters and stock video websites and stuff like that, you can always ask questions and I will give all that information away for free. This is the one and only thing about my business that I'm happy to share all the details and every single bit of juicy information, because I actually really love seeing people do Kickstarters. I support anytime someone that I know has a Kickstarter campaign or a GoFundMe, because I freaking love the idea of talented, amazing artists and creative people out there in the world doing big things. It's nothing makes me more excited than that. So please let me know if you guys end up doing a Kickstarter, because I will donate. I'll be the first one to donate. All right, thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you all on the flip side. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Erin. You're so awesome.
Oh, thanks, Annie.
Thanks,
So-
Erin.
Thank
So
you. Kate.
wise.
Thanks for being here. Bye, guys.